everyone. I hope you are having a great day and you can hear me fine. Please go ahead and drop in. Tell us your name, where you're from. Let us know how you found us. And just want to say thank you for joining us today. We're going to talk about the 10 questions, which of course are what you need to know when you are looking for an editor. And, we all start with self-editing and we have lots of things going on there. When you're done with the self-editing, you're going to proceed on to getting a professional or working with an editor of some sort. You really need to know what you're looking for and what you can ask to know that you're getting value for your money. And so I really want to go into that today. I just want to say hello to everyone. And again, please tell us your name, where you're from. Subscribe. You can join us on YouTube, and we have our community there that is growing, and we are announcing when we have all these different webinars. And really, our job through these webinars that we're sharing with you is to help you become knowledgeable and confident in the self-editing process. And the more knowledge you have, the easier it's going to be for you to communicate clearly with your editor and make sure that you are getting the best return on your investment. Because editing, it truly is an investment. It is the largest amount of money you're going to lay out for your book, and you want to make sure that you know exactly what you're looking for and what you can demand from the editor that you're going to work with. So again, thank you for coming today. Please subscribe, please follow us. I will share. We have a blog that goes along with this. I'll send you the link to download it. Everyone who signed up today or downloads that will also get a free replay. So if you have to check out, that's fine. I'm going to keep this quick and effective today. I'm guessing maybe half an hour max. I think that's best. I noticed I've got a little bit of a purple tongue here. I've been eating blueberries in the wait. So let's be healthy and let's get started. So let me just say hello to everyone. You can't understand anything. Sound isn't working well. Oh no. 1 second here. Now, let me know if this is any better. How are we doing here? And I just want to say hello to everyone from, oh, good. I had another file open and I think that messed it up. I'm so glad. I need all your feedback. I feel so alone out here in the world. I think this is we've never been so connected in the world, and yet we can feel so lonely because it's just this screen. So again, thank you for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and show you what we're going to talk about. It's the 10 questions to ask an editor. Again, please subscribe, follow along. This is from firstediting.com. We are a group of professional editors who work with everything from story coach editing, which is making sure that it's developmental edit for fiction. We have book coaching for nonfiction editors. We do research, academics, theses and dissertations, so all these different things. And I would say overall, these questions that we're going to be asking today cover all 4 divisions, all 4 divisions of fiction, nonfiction, research, and academics. So please feel free to apply those, and we will keep going. So first, we want to ask, when you're going into this, what is your professional experience? What do you as an editor know, and what have you experienced and completed? This kind of question would include now certifications and training. Becoming an editor means that you have advanced education. You may be in professional organizations. You may do some continuing education, but now there's official certifications. There's online courses and training. And then beyond that, you also want to know what kind of actual hands-on experience they have, not just what they've done in theory, but who have they worked with? What genres have they helped and assisted with? What is their publishing knowledge? Who have they worked for? And are they a paid professional? Because if you are just looking for somebody to edit your book and they want to get experience doing editing, you may get something for free. However, you may not necessarily get published, and you may not have the most respectable presentation out there. So again, make sure that you're looking at that. At First Editing, we do deal with, as a company, We are not a directory. You don't go on and search and shop for your editors. There's nothing against that. There are plenty of directories out there, but we try to make it easy for you by having vetted, certified, trained professionals with a history of background, a history and background of publishing in your specific genre, and they are assigned to your document as we go. So again, that's why I recommend this. I mean, you always have to start with a professional if you want a professional result. Now, what are the ideal qualifications for this editor? Well, they should be a certified story coach if they're doing fiction. They should be a vetted book coach if they're doing nonfiction. They should have a PhD if they're dealing with academic and research, meaning that they have been through the publishing process into the different journals and publications out there, that they are familiar with the approval process and the boards and the committees when you're doing your thesis and dissertation, and they can assist you with making proper responses to any of the edits that are done. You want to make sure that your editor has an advanced or relevant degrees. There are a lot of people out there on, Fiverr and Upwork and that, and it is a gig economy. Everybody needs work, and we understand that. We've been online since 1994. I've been with the company since 2007. That's a long time of working online. This is not our first rodeo. It's decades and decades of experience of doing this. And our communication is very important there. So, making sure that you are dealing with someone who's familiar with the process, who's efficient, who is the right match for you. And maybe we need to talk about that a little bit more, but the match being that, this is your baby. So it is a relationship you're doing there. That's why we encourage you to ask for a free sample, because then you can see if you actually are a match. And if you're not a match, go to the next one. Ask for a different sample from somebody else. It's okay. It's nothing personal. It's just, this is your baby. It's going to cost you some money, and you need to make sure that you know how to get what you need in this situation. So make sure they're professionally trained and tested. That's the advantage of finding somebody who's in-house editing with a company, or inside a publishing house, agency, etc. They need to be familiar and confident in your genre. Why? Well, in your genre, your readers, your audience, they have certain expectations. Some are subconscious. I mean, they're not even really aware of what they're looking for, but they know it. They feel it. The story arc has a way of progressing. There's the anticipation and there's fulfillment at different times. There's a pacing. All the things are involved. So again, if when you're looking for this, be familiar with your genre. Be able to tell the editor, my writing is similar to X, and they are published through Y publishing house. And if they're familiar with this, that helps them to look at the genre and to make sure that they're going to keep those expectations met and make you aware of when you're filling those promises and when you're not. Publishing experience, of course, that's super important. How many people have they worked with? How many people have they helped in the publishing? Have they worked in-house? Have they done different things like this? So it's really important that you find this out, and then you want to have references. People are going to tell you again and again, I'm under non-disclosure, blah, 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 blah. You know what? You should be able to find out, or at least have some references and testimonials. That is the standard. When they've done a good job, people are happy. You go onto our website, we've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of published books, and their book covers and the author, bios, and their their photos and different things like that. Also, we have thousands of testimonials who just keep coming in daily, and people are happy. They want to share that with you. So again, we want to make sure that you are protecting yourself from a valid company that, has good experience. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't find some bad things out there in the world. Of course, we've tens of thousands of authors have come through our doors or our website. And of course, we're humans. Things happen. But overall, you need to look at the big picture of, did they make it right? Have they done the right thing? Because if there's an error or anything in there, you want to make sure that it's fixed and that you can understand. So having references, having testimonials, being able to see that they've worked in your genre, that they have this professional training and certifications that they can help you is super important, because it's all about you connecting your writing with your audience. So they need to be an expert in the writing that you're providing, so that you connect with your audience, so that they want to buy your next book. So again, keep on with that. Just make sure, I want to mention, if you have any questions as we're going along, please, please, please go ahead and write them in, and I will get to them as we go along, and we'll answer those as we go. So check when you're talking about the genre. We're making sure that they're fulfilling the expectations of your audience. The editor is looking at your writing from this form, the way that this particular genre works. If it is a memoir versus a, science fiction, a romance, those all have different styles and beats, and you need to make sure that you're meeting that with your audience and that you're engaging them. When we say engaging, that means that they care about and are invested in the story. They are invested in the characters, in the protagonist. They are invested in the research that you've provided. They are invested in the concepts that you are sharing in nonfiction. So again, make sure that they understand what your audience is looking for, and they are going to keep you accountable. They're going to make sure that your writing fulfills those objectives, and that you deliver on these promises as an author for this genre. So you can help your editor know exactly what you're promising by including your blurb when you submit for editing. So ask your editor. Now you've got kind of an outline of who they are and what their experience is and what kind of background they have. What have you professionally edited? And again, do not continue the conversation with people say, I can't share that with you, because they need to be able to share something. They need to be able to confirm that they're familiar with your genre, with your audience. They understand your publishing goals. Are you committed and understanding? Are you self-publishing? Are you hybrid publishing? Are you indie publishing, or traditional publishing? Which way are you going in this path? And think about that. Be able to answer those questions and put them forth to the editor, because when you find the right person, you will be able to ask them very valuable questions that's going to be to your benefit. So again, if you're looking to get traditionally published, then ask them, what's my next step? Where do we go from this? Now, they're not going to be able to take you all the way through, and anybody who promises that, beware. But they can definitely tell you where the next step is in the process, because it is a journey, and each step you need to take one at a time. So, what are your professional editing qualifications? Not what are your educational qualifications. What have you done? What have you written? They may be an author, but being an author is different from being an editor. You can be both, but one does not equal the other. So when we do this, your professional editor needs to have experience and knowledge, as we mentioned. They need to have the certifications, advanced training that they can share with you. Ideally, they have some professional affiliation. They're either working within the team or publishing house. They are part of a professional organization, the different editing organizations, and they have experience not only in editing, but experience with successful authors. That means that they have succeeded in getting published. So, and then when you're having this conversation, ask yourself and ask them outright, why? Why should I trust you? Of all people, what makes you the best one for my book? And they should know this, because one of the things you want to consider when you're asking the editor, what guarantees are you offering? What happens if this has a mistake? What happens? Are you guaranteeing that you're going to publish me? Buyer beware. Are you guaranteeing that it's going to sell 500 books? Buyer beware. What they should be, make sure that it doesn't sound too good to be true. Make sure that it seems professional, it seems feasible, it seems believable, and that they have proof. So what are their policy for any errors that you find? how do they perform corrections and what happens for you next? If you're doing a developmental edit, you're starting at the high level and then you're going into revisions process. What happens after that? Let them explain it to you. And then also ask for references or testimonials, something that you can see and just see that there are happy clients out there who have worked with this person and that you can trust them. It's very important. So an editing satisfaction guarantee, I highly recommend. That's not something a lot of people can offer because it's difficult. But as a company, that's what we do here. And because I hold that high standard to all of my editors within our company, I think the rest of the world should also do so. So, what is your communication style? Let me just check here. If we have any other questions, again, let me know as we go along and I'll answer them as we get to them. So, what is your communication style? What does that mean? Are you talking to them on Zoom? Are you getting emails? Are you picking up the telephone? Are you going to meet them downtown? I mean, different editors, different locations, different prices, different packages. What is it that you were being promised? And do you have that outlined? And is it clear to you? What do you get? And more importantly, what do you not get? And just let them understand that. Let you uh, make sure that you understand that and that you know reasonably what's being provided there. If there's no formal outline, then it gets muddy very quickly. You'll have demands that maybe they meet or they don't meet. They'll think that they made it clear. So again, it's very important to work with a professional who has experience on and can communicate clearly what's going to be provided. So there are all kinds of editing available out there. You can, after you have the edit, they'll hand it back to you and you can do the revisions, which means, now you've done the high level developmental edit and you're going down the line. And now you have all these corrections, omissions, explanations, evaluations, whatever it may be that you've got to complete. Now you can do them all yourself. And one of the few things that you can find out there is you can have those corrections done for you. That does not mean that you should click accept all and go forward and assume it's all correct. Those corrections can be done for you by the editor. And when you do that, you need to go through and confirm that that is your voice, your information, and that you agree with what's happening there. So the reason why we do this is you need to find out, are you a good match? Do you need a lot of help or do you just need professional consultation and direction so that you can carry on and do it yourself? What are your needs? Do you need all the editing done? Do you need assistance with formatting? Do you want to have a consultation? Do you need several different levels of editing? Do you have a process you're going through? Where are you? Do you understand the editing process? If you don't, there are books out there. We'll share it today. And make sure that you understand that the more you understand, the better you can communicate and the better return on your investment you'll get from your editor. So, and what are your needs? Do you understand what you need? Do you know what you want? I mean, that's a very big question. Do you know if you want a content edit, a developmental edit, a line edit, a copy edit, a proofread? Do you know the differences of these? And, can you define that? Do you have a style guide? Do you know what the submissions process to the publishing house that promotes and publishes the author that you're most similar to? Can you meet their requirements? Because if you don't do that, they're never going to look at your manuscript. So again, make sure if you're submitting to a journal or your review committee that you know exactly what style and what the requirements are from the formatting on down so that you meet those professionally from the very beginning, because that's why you're working with an editor. What are the professional services that editor is going to provide for you? Or have they outlined it for you? If you have expectations or questions or desires, please make sure that you also express those and that they agree or disagree, and that's very important from the beginning. If you can share your goals with your editor, that helps a lot, because your goals, if it's self-publishing in as an independent author or a hybrid or going to a publishing house, they're very different on how the process is going to be for you. And then just again, ask yourself, what is this editor promising me? And does it seem reasonable? And, do I trust it? Do you trust it? Trust your gut. Always listen for that. So moving along here. And of course, the biggest thing, the easiest way to find out if the communication is right, if it's a match, is to get a free sample of their work. We provide that here. You upload your document. We're going to give you the recommendation of what level of editing you need, what we think you should do next, how much it's going to cost, and just a little critique of what we feel is happening here. And that's very, very important because how that editor communicates with you will either match or not your personality. And it's very important that you do feel like you have somebody you can trust and move forward in this process. So, what editing services do you recommend for my manuscript? And then it's gone off. Oh, and why? So the professional recommendations are going to be based on the level of editing, which is basically your needs, what stage you are in the writing editing process, and of course what services you are asking for. What are you requiring or requesting that the editor says, yeah, I can go above and beyond, that's no problem. Now that being said, do not, and you would never do this, right? I'm talking to smart people here, but do not hire an editor to do a lower level of editing or a cheaper price because that's what you want when it may or may not be what you need. If you need a line edit, a content edit, you need a full on developmental edit, you can't go in and get a proofread because it's going to be a disservice to yourself and it's going to be a disservice to that editor because they're going to look bad. People are going to say, well, did you even get this edited? And well, yeah, but all they did was grammar, spelling, punctuation. They looked for a couple of commas or whatever, when what you needed was, evaluation of your story arc or, your characters or the overall outline. So again, make sure that you understand what their recommendations are, why, and then this will be based upon where you are in the writing and editing, and of course what your needs are and what you want. So there are lots of different editors, and I'm going to cover them briefly here. Again, I'm keeping this brief today, but we have the structural or developmental editors, the content editors, line editors, and copy editors. So when you're dealing with each of those at the stages, you need to make sure that you have the right editor. If you don't know what the stages are, send us your manuscript. We'll take a quick look. We'll do a free sample. We'll give you our professional recommendations and just tell us what you're looking for. And that's the easiest way if you're unsure, So what do I get with your professional editing services? This is the question you want to put forth to that editor. What do I get? Because they're going to tell you, well, it costs this much. Well, for that, what do I get? So there are 4 stages of editing, as I mentioned: the developmental structural editing, the content editing, the line editing, or the copy editing. And of course, then there is also proofreading. Proofreading comes after you have formatted the book. It's the final review to make sure that none of the words got lost in the upload to the software and the programming and whatever, but it's really not part of the editing. So when you're doing this, you're going to have all the corrections performed in track changes. You'll be able to review and accept each of these as you're going through. You'll be looking for embedded notes and feedback, specifically when you're getting a structural edit or content or line edit. There will be some notes and feedback. With a copy edit, it's straightforward. It's all syntax, grammar, spelling, punctuation, style, etc. And of course, a good editor is going to make recommendations and tell you exactly why. Woo-hoo! Sorry, guys. So, example of the deliverables would be that you're going to receive a summary letter with a critique from your editor. You will get some support and some tools to perform all of your revisions. You may receive your story arc. This is in fiction. It outlines, your 5 key points, where they are and where they lie, and if they're matching the format for your genre. The editor is going to be very, they have subjective reviews and they have objective reviews. The subjective means they're looking at it from the feel and dynamics of how it reads and how it communicates to your audience. But an objective review is looking at the word count and scene analysis, saying, is your protagonist in all of the 5 key scenes? And do those 5 key scenes have a higher word count than the others? Are they balanced? Does it work out overall? Another deliverable would be a story map with the elements that you're being reviewed. You have a report so that you can go back through. And I think it's really important that you have this so that you have the time and the stress-free ability to go back and work on it uh, and do it effectively and thoroughly. So, the summary letter and a report are super duper important to allow you to perform the revisions that you're going to need to complete. And of course, there are software and different how is it being delivered to you? Is it formatted? Did you order formatting? Is it being returned as a Word document? Is it being returned online? There's a lot of different processes out there. And then, of course, are you receiving any coaching or consultations in addition to the actual physical editing performed by the editor? So, and of course, the biggest question that everybody wants to know is how much does it cost to work with you as my professional editor? And that varies, but you should get a quote, and the quote should be based upon how they base their charges. Is it an hourly fee? Is it a flat fee? Is it per word? And it should, of course, include the editing level. In my opinion, the way that we do it is we do per word because that really gives us a better evaluation of the length. And of course, editing level, it means, a more in-depth, higher level of editing is going to take a longer time and a more trained and certified editor to perform it. So of course, the fees are going to be there. I tend to want to avoid the hourly because, well, it can take as long as you want. And if you need work, hourly labor is very good. But for you as the client, I would look for something more succinct and objective. So looking at a per word fee is much better. But most importantly, this is the largest investment in your writing. So make sure you have it up front, make sure there's no surprises, know exactly what you're getting, what the expectations are, and that how it's going to be delivered, when it's going to be delivered, etc., and how they're going to guarantee and follow up on the manuscript itself. And if there's any problems or mistakes that you find, and these are humans here. So I just want to emphasize here that editing is just not cheap. So you need to know what to expect and understand the process, and it'll help you communicate better with your editor. And again, I mentioned the free editing book. I'm going to send you all of you who've signed up, you will have this, you can download and get this free handout, but also you can go ahead and download the editing journey, which is covering the levels of a story edit, a line edit, and a copy edit. So another interesting question, I included this because I really do think it's important, is what do you offer in addition to the editing? So do they offer formatting, an author bio? Do they offer to help you with your blurb or your book jacket cover? Do they help you with the comments and the revisions for when you're submitting to a journal or a publication or a review committee? What are you getting, and what can you know, is this the editor you're going to be working for when you get those additional services? So there's critiques, reviews, synopsis, consultations, as I mentioned, language enhancements to make it flow better. If English is not your first language, it's important that they can make it feel and read in a comfortable way into native speakers. They can help you with your author's bio, providing a final proofread, and so much more. So again, there's always different services. And again, I put this on as number 10 because I really, really, really want you to get examples, and I want you to get a sample. I want you to check out the testimonials, all these things I've told you, but I cannot emphasize it enough that you really need to find out if you're a match with this editor. And so they can show you examples of what they've performed. They can share their testimonials and references. And then, of course, you want a sample of their editing on your writing. And I think that's really where it comes down to it, that can they do what they say or not? And if you feel that they can, then you can proceed. But if not, this is a good time for you to walk away. So get an editing example of your writing. If you don't find others out there, of course, firstediting.com, we're happy to do that for you and to give you a professional recommendation. Now, we'll be returning to do a lot more of self-editing, which I do emphasize because that's so important that you know how to the editing process and you know how to self-edit to get this all done. So let me take a look here and see what kind of questions we have. Da, da, da. Everyone is asking if they were late. Can I rewatch from the beginning later? Absolutely. I signed in an hour early. And so I will clip that and the link will be there in, you can go over to firstediting.com or sorry, First Editing's channel on YouTube and we will make it live there. If you're signed up for this, we will send out that link and you can watch it again at your convenience. Also, let me see here. I want to share the link where you can download the handout here. There we go. Da, 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 so that you can see that. And so go ahead and go to First Editing questions to ask an editor there, and that will help you in the process. So let me look at our comments. Any questions? So if you're late, we're going to provide that. Story arc. Is it essential for a dramatized history where the events don't follow the story arc rules? Is it essential, the established story arc, where the events don't follow the story arc rules? You know, this is something where it's going to be who are you simulating and what are you doing? And I think if you have a full layout of manuscript, I would send that into the editor and let them know that you're aware, because as in all things, there are a lot of rules. That's the world of editing. It's hardcore. You know, editors love to follow rules, the syntax, the grammar, spelling, punctuation, and the substantial and developmental editing to fit within these forms. Not necessarily a template or a format, but the form of the general story arc. That being said, you are allowed to break the rules once you know what they are. But I would always ask the editor for their feedback. And again, this is easier for you to accept if you are an established, you know, quite prolific writer who has had this experience before. So I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and, you know, share this with your editor when you send in for, oops, oh, sorry, I am clicking the wrong one. There we go. That you submit this with your free sample so that they can address that specifically. And that's always really, really good for you to know there. So, see what other questions we have here. We got the sound sorted out. I'm so glad you guys told me because, again, I left another tab open. And you can rewatch it. Let's see, here's a good question. I'm torn between content and line editing. How do I know which one? The novel is complete and it feels right, but not sure which to cover first. Well, again, the content, which can be on a very large level, the developmental structural edit. That's where you're going to look at, basically, we've been going through a 38 story elements from Fictionary, and that is letting us evaluate every scene, every chapter, and the overall story arc according to these set necessary parts that fit in. And that's very, very important. Once you've got the strong story, the baseline of your manuscript, be it fiction, nonfiction, research, whatever it may be, that's when you proceed on to line editing. And the line editing is going to be, you know, grammar, spelling, punctuation, transitional phrases, the flow, the content, the overall consistency in the document based upon how it is written versus what is written. When you're dealing with the developmental edit, it's about what is your story, who are you communicating to, and are you engaging them? When you have that nice and strong, and you're just doing the revisions of grammar, spelling, punctuation, the other things I've just mentioned, then you're going on to line editing. So if you're a very good self-editor or your editor is super great and you have a very strong manuscript, on rare occasions, you can skip line editing and go directly to copy editing. It happens. But regardless, send it in for a sample. Ask your editor this directly. Say, I think it's this, 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 but send in the complete manuscript so that they can review it and evaluate it and answer that question specifically for you. Because again, this is very important. Where is the link to the free book? Let me share it with you. Let's see here. We have it on firstediting.com. Here. This is the link. firstediting.com/your-editing-journey/ So again, you can go on there. If you're just kind of playing around in our website, you'll see that it's there. Or if you'd like to submit your document for a free sample, please just include in your instructions that you'd really like to receive the free ebook, and we can do that for you too. So again, folks, I'm trying to keep this nice and neat and quick so that everyone can carry on, get what they need in life, and go enjoy their lives. It is summer and it's time to get out and have some fun. But write those books, and when you need help, please feel free to reach out to us. You can reach us at editors@firstediting.com. You can also give us a call. Our phone number is 321-251-6977. I encourage you to follow us and like us on whichever platform you're on. I know tonight we're on Facebook, we're on LinkedIn, we're on YouTube, and we're on Twitter, and that's just super exciting. But if you join us over at YouTube, of course you can like us, click the bell, follow us, subscribe, and we'll give you all the information what we're doing. About every 2-3 weeks, we hop on here and we answer those questions, and we love dealing with people. We answer the phone, we answer chats, and we always respond to your emails. So please reach out to us, and we do wish you the best of luck. Follow, like, subscribe, share, and we'll see you again next month, I guess. Well, that's easy because that's tomorrow. So we'll see you in July. Take care, and thank you for joining us tonight. And again, be safe, have fun. I'm just going to look through here. I've got a couple more comments in. Chat is covering the last link on the screen. Interesting. Okay. So the link is firstediting.com, and you're looking for the name of the book is Your Editing Journey. So firstediting.com/your-editing-journey/ and you can get that. Again, thank you. We will definitely phone you if you send us in your phone number. We'll do that. I use Scrivener. What format do we send to an editor? Send it in Word. Download it. That's the easiest one. It's the best way. And then you can see all the track changes there. That's pretty much the standard. And if they're using any special software, they'll put it in there and get back to you later. Again, folks, thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time.